guys, Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with a bins and thrift haul. So I went to the bins on Friday, which was Black Friday, just to give you like a little bit of context here. And I wasn't sure if it was going to be absolutely mobbed or pretty mellow. To my surprise, it was actually pretty mellow, but the stuff at the bins that day, for whatever reason, wasn't great. For me, one of my tells when I'm kind of digging through a bin is if I see something that I've already seen in a row of bins that got taken to the back, that just tells me that they're low on inventory, so they're just kind of tossing old bins with a little bit of the older stuff just to kind of like fill them up. And while I found some really incredible things, they were few and far between. I think I was there for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours, and I left with like 25 pieces, which, to be clear, in a lot of bins locations around the country, that is like a great day at the bins, finding good stuff. But for here, that's really, really low. If I'm there for 3 or 4 hours, typically I'd be leaving. I'd have to like limit myself at like 50 pieces just because of storage. So I left and I had a little juice left in me, which I usually don't when I leave the bins. I'm usually like dead tired. So I went to a thrift store same day and found some really cool pieces and one like insane thing at the thrift. So anyway, some really good stuff to talk about, some cool brands, some really crazy designers. One thing that I found at the bin, somebody offered to buy it on the spot. So we'll get to that a little bit later. But before we get started here, guys, if this is your first time here, if this is your first time stumbling on my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I'm Julia. That is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and the business of reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, we've got a lot to get through. I think I've all in got about 35 pieces. So as I said, lots to talk about. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink. You know I've got my matcha latte. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the goods. Okay, so we're gonna start with the thrift store, mostly because that's the bag on top of my stack here. So the first piece I got here was this gorgeous vintage Cheongsam Kipao. I'm sure I'm saying this wrong. Please, if anybody knows the pronunciation, correct me, I beg of you, but it's this beautiful silk piece. Now, I found a vintage one a few weeks ago that had some like condition issues with it. This one, on the other hand, is flawless. It's handmade for sure. I'm gonna guess this is about a size 6. It's pretty small. It's definitely old. One of the little tells that I use when trying to date, at least like get a general idea of date for a vintage piece, is the zipper. Now this zipper is metal, and that's a really good tell for you. Vinyl and plastic zippers started to become a real thing in like the mid 60s. So if you have a metal zipper, and for the most part, once vinyl and plastic zippers kind of came into play, really you were only seeing metal zippers if they were like intentionally used as like a design feature, right? Like you didn't really see hidden metal zippers much after the mid 60s. So I know that this is mid 60s or earlier. I'm gonna guess probably 50s, just going on the color, but it's in perfect condition, absolutely beautiful. Not quite sure what I'll get on this, maybe like 40, 50 bucks, maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure if this is silk. It might be. Maybe I'll see if I can find a few fibers and do like a burn test, just to at least see if it's synthetic or not. But either way, absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna pick this kind of stuff up anytime I can find it. And this should sell no problem. Might not sell until spring. Again, this is very like springy colors, but you never know. I am often surprised by stuff like that. So next up, a little We the Free piece. This is like a little cotton slub mock neck. Mock necks right now, by the way, guys, are huge. So make sure if you have any piece with a mock neck on it, you're using that term mock neck and mock turtleneck. People will search for the same things. Now, this is the kind of thing that I generally wouldn't pick up in a regular thrift store. Regular price on this was $6.99, but because I got it for $3.50, I still grabbed it. But these We the Free t-shirts, and I love the little like button detail there. Those chunky buttons. I don't know if you can see the thickness of those. But these kind of We the Free pieces sell very well for me. The only thing that I think might hold this back a little bit is the fact that it's a size small, but these things surprise me all the time. I will probably get somewhere between 20 and 30 bucks on this. And if I have to guess, probably fairly quickly, because that has just been my experience with We the Free, specifically the We the Free basics. So next up, here comes a chunky monkey. This is a sweater from Soft Surroundings, which I haven't really been picking up too much from recently, but this is like a big chunky knit. I don't know, you can kind of see like the thickness right there. big chunky knit bell sleeve navy blue sweater. I'm gonna guess that this is tunic length. The size tag has been cut out. I think that this is probably like a 1X or a 2X, just going by like the pit to pit width here. I don't think that Soft Surroundings is making things like this kind of oversized. That would be like a Free People move. And also the contents tag has been cut out. I know for sure it's at least a cotton blend. I don't know if it's cotton wool, so I'm gonna have to look for this specific sweater, see if I can find somebody else that's selling it that has like a picture of the contents tag. Either way, this one is the same price as this little Free People thing at $6.99, and I got it half off. I'll probably see, for something like this, I'll probably see somewhere 30 to 40 bucks on it. And no doubt fairly quickly, this is just such a perfect little cozy, you know, I can use like hygge, cozy core, cabin core, you know, old money, preppy, like this has all of those connotations, but it is gorgeous and I do hope it sells quickly because it is quite bulky. As much as I love sweaters, I hate the bulk of them. Next up, this is an interesting one and one that I probably didn't think I would ever find here. This is from a brand called Free Fly, which makes like fishing and outdoors apparel. This is a very basic piece. Free Fly is a pretty high-end brand of like fishing apparel, outdoors apparel. This is the kind of thing that I would see all the time in Utah. I know most people know Utah for the mountains, but if you are unfamiliar, there is some like world-class trout fishing in Utah. I think it's specifically the cutthroat trout in particular that people go to Utah for, but like world-class fly fishing, if that's your vibe or if that's something that somebody you love is into, like that's where you send them. Anyway, Free Fly, great brand. For something like this, I'll probably see like 20 to 30 bucks, but if you can find like a jacket or a more technical piece from them, the money is there. So keep your eyes out. I don't know if I showed you the label, so keep your eyes out for that label. Next up, straight out of Y2K, I saw this. Anybody who's around my age definitely wore dresses like this to the club in like 2005. So this is like a little mini dress. It's got 3/4 dolman sleeves, those batwing sleeves. I mean, like you can see the whole styling that went with this. We had the side swoop bangs. Maybe we were wearing those pumps. Not me. I've never been a heels girl, but I would have worn the cheap Old Navy flip-flops, which are arguably just as bad for your feet as those horrible pumps were. But this is from Young, Fabulous, and Broke, and this is the old label from Young, Fabulous, and Broke. The hem on this is a bubble hem, which is the main reason that I picked this up, because bubble hems are a real thing right now. I need to see if I can find a picture of this from back in the day because I just want to know how this fit. It's pretty straight cut. So I'm kind of thinking that the bubble hem might have been like tight around the hips and then like a little bit of a blouson in the bodice, which is again, just so of the era. No clue what I'm gonna get on this. Maybe again, like 25 to 30 bucks. Y2K stuff is still super hot, and that's Y2K plus the bubble hem, plus a mini dress. It's checking a lot of boxes there. Next up, I just thought that this was so cool. This is old. This is a vintage sweatshirt from, I'm gonna guess this is a local high school. I don't know what a GAA club is, but everything about this I love. It's a size small. This is made by a brand called Collegiate Pacific, and you can see the person who owned this stitched their name into the tag. Look at this. Talk about the way things were. I think that says Yuen. I think that's the name. But something like this, it's got some discoloration on it, so I might... It makes me a little bit nervous, but I might try an OxyClean soak on this because some of these old age stains, they look like they're protein based and I bet they'll come out beautifully. But this is the kind of thing that I'll see somewhere between 25 and like 40 bucks on, simply because of the age. Like because this is true vintage. This is probably 75 years old at this point. It's just a really cool find and definitely something I wanted to get and make sure that it gets into the hands of somebody who is looking for stuff like this, because there's always a market for these super old sweatshirts, especially if you can find like old Champion sweatshirts, because quality wise, especially when you're looking at like older vintage sweatshirts, Champion just head and shoulders above every other company that made them. So they can be tough to spot, but there are really thorough label repositories online that'll help you date any Champion sweatshirts that you have come across. But if you can find any Champion sweatshirts from like mid to early 80s and earlier, they can sell for like crazy dollar amount. Subject matter will have a lot of like influence on what that price is, but even just the plain ones will sell at a premium. So keep your eyes out. Next up, oh, this was a good find. Okay, so this is like a little base layer. This is a ski base layer. And this is a label I want you to keep your eyes out for, especially if you are unfamiliar with ski brands. This little B here is for Bogner. And Bogner is a brand I want you to keep your eyes out for sure. And let me put this into context for you, because pretty much everybody at this point knows who Moncler is, the super high-end jacket brand. Moncler and Bogner are both, you know, in the ski world. Bogner is pretty much specifically ski, like technical apparel, where Moncler has a little bit more streetwear and like ready to wear. At this point, they're making like puffy gowns, which, to be clear, I love and would 100% wear. But Bogner and Moncler are really like right in that same price range, where for the most part, if you go and shop for like a ski jacket, you can get like an Obermeyer ski jacket, which is excellent. Like Obermeyer quality is fantastic. It's great bang for your buck. And those will start at like $230 and go to maybe like $500. Then you have a couple more levels in between, like the Obermeyer of the world and the Bogners and the Monclers. Bogner and Moncler are really like at the top, the cream of the crop prices. So where Moncler is maybe a hair more expensive, it's kind of like a Bogner ski jacket will start at $2,000 and they'll go to like $2,700. And then like a Moncler ski jacket will start at like $2,300 and go to like $3,000. So just like it's splitting hairs, they're both extremely expensive, and Bogner pieces are more niche for sure because less people know about it, but people who are looking for highly technical ski gear will absolutely positively know who they are. So keep your eyes out for that logo. Bogner also makes a line called Bogner Fire and Ice. I'll see if I can find a picture of a label here. I know I recently sold a vest. That's kind of, I don't even want to call it like their diffusion line. That's kind of their streetwear line, even though a lot of their stuff is technical and is built to be skied in. There's powder skirts and all that kind of stuff. Those probably start at about $800 for a jacket. So again, like diffusion, but barely. Either way, this little base layer, and this is meant to be right next to the skin, despite the fact that it's got a zipper, probably retailed about $400, and I'll probably see somewhere between $50 and like $100 on that on the resale market. Branding's always very, very subtle, but if you see that logo, and I'm talking especially to all you guys in Vermont, New Hampshire, Colorado, Utah, Montana, Idaho, like anywhere that there's a good ski industry, a good outdoor industry, you're gonna see these pieces. So keep your eyes out and pick them up if you see them. All right, just two more things from the thrift store. And the first piece I found was this great vintage Lands of Salzburg nightgown. Now this is in their cotton lawn, and this is one of their, I think I'm saying this right, Tyrolean prints. So kind of like, think like Northern Europe folk print, right? Like these stripes with the hearts and the cutesiness and all that kind of stuff. So Lands of Salzburg is a brand you should have on your radar. First of all, there are like traditional nightgowns, which any traditional nightgowns that are 100% cotton, either regular like cotton lawn or flannel, are desirable. People really seek them out. This is a company that still makes them. They're still sold at like Vermont Country Store today. And there's just very few companies that still make them. So they are always sought after, and new ones will get you kind of like a minimum of $20. The vintage pieces though go up to $30, $40, and every single one that I've ever had has sold super quickly. I don't think that this one is super old. I think that this one is maybe like 90s or so, but they've been around for a long time. The most in demand ones are like the oldest ones, but for sure keep your eyes out for them, especially if you can source them in the bins, because they weigh almost nothing. So again, somewhere between $20 and $45 on this. I have to do a little bit more research of the colors, which ones are more in demand, age, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, somewhere between 20 and $45, and no doubt this will go at least somewhat quickly. I think the flannel ones will go a little bit faster right now, just being as that it is winter. So maybe that might not go until spring. Maybe that'll surprise me and be gone in like 2 days, because that has been my experience with Lands. And finally, oh, this was a crazy moment. So typically when I go to a thrift store, I usually try to find a place like right before I go to checkout. I try to find a place somewhere in the store that's like very low traffic so I can kind of like take my time and go through the things that I have in my basket and kind of make my final decision as to what I'm leaving. So usually that's like a back corner somewhere, or like, you know, wherever. I just try not to be in people's way. So I did that, and I kind of had all the stuff that I needed to put back. And on my way back to the front of the store, I went past the shoe wall. There was no like aisles of shoes. It was just like along one wall. And I saw the toes of these shoes. There's tons of the typical like Target shoes and J.Lo shoes and all that kind of stuff, Jessica Simpson shoes that you typically see. So then I saw this toe. And the first thing that came to me was that Issey Miyake, who, if you are new here, he's like one of my favorite designers, forever on my thrift bucket list. I've yet to find anything from him, but he did a collaboration with Camper, who I absolutely adore. Camper is a Spanish shoe company. I don't know how common they are in the States. I know that there is a store here at the Grove and probably a store in New York, but they're really high quality, very comfortable shoes. They make these kind of cool shoes called Twins that are a little bit different. I'll see if I can find a picture right here. You should be keeping your eyes out for Campers if you're not. I'm a huge fan. I have a pair. Anyway, I digress. Issey Miyake did a collaboration with Camper that I had just gotten an email about. And the toe kind of looks like this. Issey Miyake is known for like his work with pleats, and he kind of did a really interesting like soft leather flat with Camper that has like kind of pleat details. So I picked these up, and I picked these up kind of like this off the shelf, and my first thought was like, holy that is the softest leather I have ever had my hands on. I mean, like inside and out, this is fully leather lined, and I'm like, whoa. And they felt sturdy, and I kind of picked them up and put them in my hand like this, and I'm like, these are very nice. And if you look on the inside, you kind of like, I don't know if the name's gonna show up to you. It was really hard for me to see. It wasn't until I looked at the bottom that I recognized what I was holding. What? And immediately was heartbroken that these are like 2.5 sizes too small for me, because this is the kind of heel that I can handle. You know what I'm saying? Like chunky block, maybe 2.5 inches, but these have been soled with Vibram soles. So I talked a few weeks ago when I found a pair of Balenciaga espadrilles about the taupe soles. Taupe soles are something that are made specifically for like protection of the soles. So they're a little bit harder, they're a little bit less grippy, where Vibram soles are made for grip. Like these are put on for grip and for protection, but for the most part, if you're going just for protection, you're gonna go for taupe soles. They cost about the same in terms of installation. Whoever owned these paid a good, $75 to $100 to get these things sold. And if you look at these soles, like that's brand new. I don't think that these have been worn once these soles were put on. Maybe once on carpet. They're flawless. So these are Celine. These are from like the peak of their minimalist days. And retail on them was about $900, and on the resale market, these shoes in particular are going between $150 and $300. So still, I would rather keep them because I am obsessed with these shoes, but they're a size 6.5. So either way, I'm gonna get these into the hands of somebody who loves them like I do. But like, I mean, just sitting in the middle of a bunch of like Jessica Simpson heels. So, oh my God, what a find. I'm probably gonna do a little like leather conditioner on these, make these look like really, really nice, but gutted that they won't fit me. But again, super happy to have spotted them and to be able to nerd out about them with you guys. Gorgeous, right? I know that these are not everybody's cup of tea, but they are my cup of tea. On to the bins. Okay, so this was one of the first things that I grabbed, and I mean, we're in like the weird and well-made vintage moment here. So this skirt, this is a maxi skirt, and it's got this like, I mean, this looks like a quilt square to me. Like that's kind of like an oversized quilt square, but the colorway feels so 80s. The label on this, where is it? It's made in France. So I don't know anything about this label. I haven't been able to find anything searching for it. It doesn't feel particularly like high end. It's just like a printed piece of ribbon here, but made in France and from like Saint-Tropez. Like 100% could see somebody wearing this like with a bikini top in Saint-Tropez. Definitely in the 80s, but I could also see it today. It's just weird and well made. Really, really unusual. I can't tell if it's supposed to be, oh, I guess it is because the label is there right in the back. So I guess that's supposed to be the front and then the back is blank. But how cool is that? Like this is, again, the weird and well made stuff that I love to find. No clue what I'm gonna get for this. Somewhere between 25 and 50? Maybe. I'll keep doing some research, and if any of you guys know anything about the maker there, let me know, because I'm kind of hitting a wall with my searches, but either way, even just based on style, this will sell. I just thought that that was so cool. Next up, found this great little Carhartt quarter zip. Carhartt's just a brand you should always pick up no matter what. There are like two camps of people who like Carhartt. There are the people that buy it for like the performance of it. You know, that's a lot of like your manual laborers, your roofers, your construction guys, anybody who works outside. Like their stuff is made so well. So no matter what, there will always be a market for Carhartt in that world. There are also the collectors, which is a whole different beast. They like to find like old work jackets that have already been broken in, and they like to wear them for fashion, which I find hilarious. You know, I live in LA and I see guys walking around in these like really like beat up Carhartt jackets, and I'm like, that man has never seen a day of hard labor in his life. You know, like his nails are manicured. Come on. Anyway, I will pick up Carhartt anytime I see it. I never get my hands on it because the Bins Bros are all over it. But this is XL. It's a good like casual, but looks a little bit pulled together, but is definitely like a sweatshirt kind of a thing. This will probably go somewhere between like 28 and 40. I'm not quite sure what this particular shirt will be, but right down to the elbow patches. Love Carhartt, never get my hands on it, and I'll pick it up anytime I see it, and I'll comfortably pay up for it, especially if you are out thrifting, if you are somewhere like in the plains where you've got a lot of like ranches around you, you've got a lot of guys that work out in the outside, keep your eyes out for Carhartt in your thrift stores. Even like a Carhartt jacket with holes will sell for way more than you think it will. So comfortably pay up for those pieces, and please don't leave them behind because people want them. People in Los Angeles with manicured nails want those and will pay up for them. Next up, oh yeah. Have you ever seen a piece of silk so wrinkled? You know I'm always gonna have my eyes out for silk. This is like a little chemise, just like a little kind of nightgown. It's in this beautiful royal purple silk. This is 100% like real silk, not satin. And this is vintage Victoria's Secret. So Victoria's Secret is a brand that sells like better than I expect it to, even the newer stuff. I don't really touch newer Victoria's Secret stuff unless it's silk. You want to use the term gold label when you see it, because the old stuff with the gold label, like you're seeing here, is what people are looking for. So that tells me that this is probably about the 90s. Even if you find something that is satin from this era, I would still pick it up. It's still in demand, but the pieces that people really, really want are the silk, gold label, ideally like midi length dresses. People will wear them as like formal dresses right now. But even this, it's in great condition. I mean, obviously it looks like trash right now because it is just so wrinkled. Oh, I didn't even show you this. Little crisscross straps in the back too. Gorgeous. It is a size extra small. That doesn't matter. This will still sell very, very quickly. Oh, I didn't even see it. It's got a little slit up the front. I'll see 30 to 40 bucks for this like all day long, and no doubt this will go quickly. These things sell so fast for me. And if this was a little bit longer, or if it was a bigger size, it would sell even faster for probably more money. So keep your eyes out for it, and make sure if you do have a vintage Victoria's Secret piece that has that like gold writing on the label, you're using Victoria's Secret gold label in your title and in your descriptions. Next up, we have this great big blanket scarf situation. It's one of those shawls that go around you. It's 100% cotton. It weighs kind of a ton. It is from Neiman Marcus, which is the main reason that I picked this up. This is in like perfect condition. I love the green color of it. I always laugh because in my mind, anytime I see something like this, my initial thought is always, this is the thing that women keep in the office because the offices are always kept so cold. But something like this, I'll have to do a little research. I really have never picked one of these up that's like 100% cotton. Usually if I see them, they're like merino wool or cashmere or whatever, and they'll sell for a pretty penny, you know, in the like $70, $80 range. This might sell for a little bit less, but then it's also Neiman Marcus, right? So it's got a couple different factors going for it. So I'll do a little research, maybe somewhere between 40 and 70 bucks on that. That's my best guess as to what I'll get on it on the secondhand market. And a lot of times that's what we have to do. We have to make our best guess, you know, take all of the context clues into consideration and make our best guess. And if it doesn't sell fairly quickly, you'll know you have to adjust that best guess. So absolutely gorgeous. All right, next up, we've got another little We the Free piece, very kind of similar to the last one now that I'm looking at it. Same cotton slub, just different color. Same interesting, like, asymmetrical mock neck. I feel like this kind of reminds me of like onesies, the way that that snaps up there. It's another We the Free. It's size small. It's in great condition. Again, I'm gonna lean on that like mock neck. I like that the sleeves are ever so slightly belled. Free People does that very well. Again, somewhere 20 to 30 bucks on this. Probably quicker than I anticipate it going, but I love this slub. I love the feel of this slub so much, but the thing that drives me nuts about slubs, specifically from Free People, this is just my personal experience, is that they make the slub so extreme. I don't know if you can kind of like see how thin it is, where it's thin. They've been known to make the slub so extreme that it just doesn't hold up to like washing very well, and I'm meticulous about how I take care of my clothes. And I've had more than one, mostly sweatshirts, a little bit heavier than this. I've had more than one like slub sweatshirt, like pull at the stress points, like where the pocket attaches and whatever, but either way, I still love the way it feels. Next up, okay, so this is a weird one. So I saw this and I immediately knew what it was. Just seeing like these two things together, I knew what it was. Like this is a little dress that's supposed to look like a wilderness explorer's dress from Up. If you've not seen Up, you should absolutely see Up. Cried my eyes out. I saw it the first time on a plane, was bawling like a child in public. I don't care. The first 5 minutes of that movie absolutely destroyed me. And everybody else that's ever watched it, I just had the misfortune of watching it for the first time in a plane. Anyway, so I grabbed it and I'm like, you know what? This is in perfect condition. It's kind of got that like little bit of like a retro style to it. And when you go to Disney, Disney has a thing called like the dress shop. So at that dress shop, they do these kind of like retro style dresses using motifs from the park. So they'll use like the Haunted Mansion wallpaper or the classic Tiki Room print. And so I initially thought it was something like that. And those dresses sell for like a pretty high price point. They're usually like $129. And initially that's what I thought this was. And those kind of dresses, if you ever come across one or something like this, you want to make sure that you're using the keyword Dapper Day. If you are unfamiliar with what Dapper Day is, both Disney World and Disneyland, I'm not sure if like the international parks do it, but Disney World and Disneyland do 2 Dapper Days a year. And they are days where people go and they get dressed up like, you know, from a bygone era. And a lot of times they'll do a reference to a character in a movie. So like this would be something that somebody would wear for a Dapper Day to dress like, you know, Russell from Up, but in kind of a retro rockabilly type style. So these dresses can resell quite well. I've never come across one. This one in particular was a collab that they did with it at Torrid, but the same principles remain on this. Sold comps on this dress are like 40 to 60 bucks. So not an insignificant reselling price, but just make sure if you ever come across something that is like Disney motif, but in a retro style or can be used in a retro style for a Disney like costume. There's a term that they use called Disney bounding, because like at the parks, unless you're there at Halloween, you're not allowed to dress in costume. And I think it's because they don't want to like confuse little kids that like, oh, there's Cinderella, like their Cinderella next to like some other person dressed like Cinderella. So a lot of people will do like Disney bounding, where again, they kind of do a referential outfit based on a Disney character. I'll see if I can find a picture of somebody Disney bounding. It'll make a little bit more sense when you can see it. So you want to use the terms Disney bound, Dapper Day, and then all of your other like retro style and the characters and all that kind of stuff. But keep your eyes out for stuff like that, guys, because there is a very dedicated buyer pool. Like people go all out for these days. Go and look up, there's a million YouTube videos of people walking around and people like go to town, but just make sure you're using those terms because that is the lingo that those folks use. Oh, this was a wild find. Okay, this was a brand I've never found in the thrift or in the bins, but I kind of knew exactly what it was because this is one of their more like well-known pieces. I saw this, which is very distinctive. This is like a lace knit. I think I'm using the right term. This is like a lace knit fabric, and it kind of has a sports sports jersey look to it. And then I saw the logo. So this is from Kith. Think like Kith and Kin, right? This is a brand, they're based in New York, but they are like big in the streetwear world. People collect their pieces. Kith is usually part of like the vanguard of what streetwear is going to be in the United States for the next couple years. So if you're ever, like if you like streetwear, if this is something that you like to sell, or if you're interested in it, I would follow Kith. And what Kith does, you're gonna be seeing every kind of fast fashion company copying it over the next few years. But something like this, it's got the big logo there across the back. This is honestly more visible on camera than it is in real life. And more patches here at the bottom. So this probably retailed like $200 or so. And on the resale market, I'm gonna guess that I'll probably see somewhere between like 40 and $100 on this. Kith is very, very expensive, very highly sought after. Things sell out, so there's a scarcity factor for a lot of their pieces. I don't know how many of this piece in particular are floating around on the secondhand market, but it's a pricey brand, people love it, people know it. And it's definitely an aspirational brand that people will want to get at like a lower price, right? So keep your eyes out for it. The branding is often very subtle, but keep your eyes out for it. Be comfortable paying up for it. That being said, there are dupes on the market. So if you find something and they're charging like a crazy price for it, I mean, if you're at the bins, you gotta buy it. You gotta take the chance, take your time at home. But if you're out and about, just like look at the quality. Kith is known for like a really good level of quality in their clothing. So if you're seeing like a lot of untrimmed threads and like side vents that don't have a bar tack on top or anything like that, that kind of tells you that they have cut corners in the cost of manufacturing, chances are it's a dupe. But it's a great brand and an exciting find. I've never found anything from them in the thrift, in the bins, ever. Next up, remember that Lands of Salzburg nightgown that I found at the thrift? Earlier that day, I found 2 in the bins. Again, those kind of Tyrolean prints that people are after. This is also that cotton lawn. These, I think, are some of the older labels. I'm gonna, again, have to do some research into it, but these are both quite old. You can tell that they've been washed a lot. This is their cotton lawn, and it is like so butter soft. But this one has a cute little print. You can see the logo, you can see like the spell out logo there in the print. You got the teddy bears with the hearts, super in demand. And this is probably a little bit more similar to what you'll see today in like Vermont Trading Company, where you can still buy this stuff. They retail new at that $80 price point, which is not inexpensive for sleepwear, but some of the old pieces really do sell quite well. So this was an exciting find, 3 in a day, so exciting. Next up, I found a great pair of North Face hiking pants. North Face technical gear like this always sells very well for me. They make a great hiking pant, and every other pair that I've ever had is sold super quickly. These are not ski pants, these are a little too light to be ski pants, but I do always like that they have articulated knees. You always want those articulated knees in these technical pieces so they don't wear out. Like your knee will wear out faster if you don't have that articulated knee. They've got the little tabs on the inside so you can roll up the legs. They're lightweight. They're women's size 8. So something like this, I'll probably get somewhere between 25 and $35 on them. They're in great condition, classic color. I think that this is a model that they're still making today as well. So I'll get these listed ASAP, get those back into some use. Next up is a pair of Lululemon leggings. These are really the only kind of leggings that I am picking up from Lululemon. They are full length. And my first initial thought was that these are newer Aligns. And I'm gonna have to check this against my Aligns. I can't tell if they are the Nulu fabric, which is what the Aligns are made of, or if these are Luxtreme. So I have a fairly new pair of Aligns in my closet, so I'll check these against it. These kind of basic black full-length leggings are still selling fairly well. If they're Aligns, they'll sell a little bit faster because they are still kind of like the king of what they do. But even if these are the Luxtreme, they should sell pretty well because they are so basic. Probably like $35 on these right now. Guys, if you are in the need for Lululemon leggings, then I will personally vouch for the quality of their leggings. They are worth the money. I have pairs that are 10 years old that still feel brand new. But if you can get them on the secondhand market, do it. If you're a larger size, it's a little bit harder to do. It's much less saturated at like size 10 and up than it is if you're like a size 4 or 6. If you're a size 4 or 6, you should be able to get these for like a song right now. But they're great. And if they don't sell within like a couple months, I can always just put it in for like store trade-in, which is still a great deal, getting that from the bins. Next up, I found a pair of jeans. These are from Pistola. And I've been really very selective about what jeans I pick up. And I'm trying to really only pick up larger sizes and obviously more modern cuts. These are kind of like mom jean cut. They're a little bit loose. They are ankle length. Like this is the kind of jeans that I wear. I tend to like wide leg, but I would still wear something like this. They're a size 31. They're in great condition. Pistola's pretty expensive brand. They're sold at like Revolve. They're sold at Nordstrom. I really like their jeans. So I'll have to see if I can find the exact model of these. They always sell better when you can like list the exact like name of the jeans, but probably somewhere between like 30 and 50, maybe a little bit higher if it's a super in-demand style, but somewhere in that range between the size and the cut of them. No matter what, I think that they'll sell fairly quickly, but if I can find the exact model of them, it'll probably move a little bit quicker. But yeah, these are in fantastic condition. They feel like they have very little wear on them. Okay, next up, oh, this is a nice one. So this is from Mizzen and Main, which is a really nice menswear company. And this is just one of their like tech dress shirts. This is definitely like not meant to be a casual blue button-down shirt. This is meant to be like a suit shirt. And the shame of it is, I know that this was probably donated because it's got a little bit of ring around the collar, but guess what takes that out in like 2 seconds flat? OxyClean, because it's otherwise in perfect condition. It's a size large, it's a trim fit. Mizzen and Main is pretty dang expensive. These retail over $100 on the resale market. I'll probably see somewhere between like 30 and 45 on this. And again, no doubt this will go fairly quickly, especially as we go through like the holiday season and then we get into like the spring wedding season. These kind of shirts are in demand. Even though less people are going to work and wearing like a shirt and tie, you know, people still have events that they need to wear this kind of stuff to, and they don't want to be spending like $150 on it. And they do want it to be stretched whenever possible, and that's where that comes in. Oh, next up was this cute little robe, which I might gift to a friend of mine. This is just a little like pink and red print robe, but the brand on this is Kiyomi. Now, there is a vintage Kiyomi out of Hawaii, and some of you guys who are much, much better versed in Hawaiian shirts and that whole culture, please feel free to chime in here, because when I say scratching the surface, I'm like taking the latest little pinky nail and going down. I know that this goes deep. I'm not sure if this is from the same Kiyomi or if this is like a newer piece from the same brand. It's made in Indonesia, not Hawaii, which I'm not super mad about. This kind of reminds me of like the robes that you get at the hotels in Southeast Asia. It's short, it's 100% cotton. Either way, like a good lightweight, bold printed robe always sells very well for me. I don't think it necessarily matters like what the print is. I feel like we're seeing less and less stuff like this in your everyday stores, your Targets and your Macy's. There's so many like rayon blends, viscose blends, bamboo, like fluffy robes. It is hard to find anything that is all cotton. You have to like seek that out. So stuff like this I will always pick up, especially if I find it at the bins. I'll see probably a minimum of $20 for that. I'll do a little bit more research into the brand because the Kiyomi that I was seeing, those pieces are selling for like 50, 60 bucks, but they are vintage. So a little bit more discovery to be done there, but just for what it is, like cotton bold printed robe, you know, with the tie in great condition, all that kind of stuff is like, again, a minimum of 20 bucks, probably closer to 30. So always excited to find stuff like that. Next up. So this is a little pair of pants that I grabbed, and super soft cotton in brown. These are actually Barefoot Dreams. And I've never found a Barefoot Dreams cotton piece before in my life. This is just like a very lightweight cotton jersey, kind of wide leg pant, like lounge pant. I love this kind of pants. I have a pair that I got at Gap. It's from like the Love Gap. I think that line has been defunct for like, it's gotta be 8 years at this point. I've had them forever, and they're very, very similar, like super lightweight jersey. And the bottoms are all shredded on them. And I mean, they're like hanging on by a thread. I refuse to get rid of them until they no longer like are intact because I cannot find them. Gap doesn't make anything like them anymore. I've tried like dupes from Amazon. This is about as close as I've found. So this is not my size, but I will be trawling the secondhand market for more pairs like this because this is exactly what they are, and I just like they're the most comfortable thing. But these pants in particular from Barefoot Dreams resell like 30 to 50 bucks. So keep your eyes out for them. Again, I've never gotten my hands on any of their cotton pieces before, and what a pleasant surprise. And in the color of the season, so color me happy. We are getting there, guys. Okay, so this is one from Armani Exchange. I don't see a ton of Armani Exchange. I've only picked up 1 or 2 things from Armani Exchange. One sold really great, one sold okay. I just like, this felt so nice. So this is a men's sweater. It's cream. It is so soft. I love this like mixed texture to it, right? Like it's all different rib. It's all ribbed, but it's all different ribs in kind of interesting asymmetrical placement. But the main reason I got this is because of how it felt. And it's a 75% silk, 25% cotton blend. So I'm interested to see how this does. Again, I love the look of it. It's got like a little bit of a split neck, slimmer fit, flawless condition. I'm not quite sure what I'll get for it. I don't pick up a ton of Armani Exchange. I haven't been able to find a sold comp for this. Maybe somewhere 30 to 40 bucks. Let me know, is Armani Exchange a brand that you guys pick up? You know, from my memory shopping, like Armani Exchange was always like a very high-end brand, something that certainly I wasn't able to afford, but I think it was kind of in that like affordable luxury range where something like this would have probably been like 150 bucks. Which is pricey, but not like crazy, not like Armani. But let me know how it does for you if you pick it up. I'm so interested because I feel like this is a brand that I've seen a lot and I've left a lot behind, but the pieces are always really nice, like really nice materials, lots of silks and wools and stuff like that. Let me know. Let me know your experience. Maybe I'll try picking up a few more, see how this one does and go from there. But either way, like that, I could not leave that behind. It was in too nice a condition and it felt too nice. So big question mark on that one. Next up. Okay, so this is from Troy Lee Designs. And anybody who's in the moto world or in the biking world knows who this is. So Troy Lee Designs, always very over the top with the branding. Can't miss it. Going down the sleeves, it's always this kind of like outline script. So Troy Lee is probably more famously known for motocross. That's probably more likely where you've seen it. But Troy Lee also does stuff for mountain biking, and this is a mountain bike jersey. And it's women's mountain bike jersey, and I want to say that they retail like $118. They're very expensive. You can usually tell a mountain bike jersey versus like a road bike jersey because of the pockets in the back. So a lot of times when you're out biking, you're going to keep your like goo packs and your like calorie bars in your back pocket. Road cyclists will usually have like a row of 3 pockets in the back that you can just like reach in while you're moving and grab stuff out, because the whole thing about road cycling is you just kind of keep going and you refuel like on the go. Whereas mountain biking, you're probably gonna stop because you can't, if you're mountain biking on like a technical trail in any way, shape, or form, and when I say technical, I mean like there's a lot of rocks and things you have to kind of get over. It's not something where you can just kind of like cruise and like reach behind you. You have to stop. You have to get off your bike to do stuff like that. If you like take your attention off of the trail for 2 seconds, you are eating dirt, potentially rocks, maybe losing teeth. You know, so you can usually tell when they have the zips on the top if it's a mountain bike jersey versus a road bike jersey. And if you find a mountain bike jersey, you want to use mountain bike jersey, like the full spell out. You also want to use MTB. For the most part, a lot of mountain bikers will abbreviate it MTB. So MTB jersey. So this is Troy Lee. It's a women's jersey. Another way to tell if it's women's or men's, if you ever see this like 3/4 length sleeve. I do not know why they don't do this for men's. This is like my preferred sleeve length. If you didn't, I also mountain bike. This is my preferred sleeve length because it doesn't cover my wrists. My temperature, like my body temperature, is always like 100% determined by how cold my wrists and my ankles are. I can't explain it, but this keeps me covered from the sun, keeps my wrist exposed, keeps me cool. On the resale market, I'll probably see like 35 to 40 bucks on this. It's size small. It's in great condition, that nice vented back. But yeah, Troy Lee is an interesting one. Again, anybody that is in a place with a lot of like trail systems, you know, for both moto and mountain biking, you'll see this kind of stuff a lot more frequently than I'll see it down here in Southern California. So keep your eyes out for it. It's a great brand. People know it. People love it. The heavier branded, the better. But really high quality stuff. Fox Racing is also another another great like reputable brand in the moto / mountain bike world. I'll see if I can find the logo here. Again, you've probably seen that. That's a little bit more well-known than like Troy Lee is, but either way, keep your eyes out for it. Grab it if you see it. Next up, I have this cute little top from Meadow Rue, and I'll tell you, I've sold this shirt in particular 3 times. Meadow Rue is a Anthropologie brand. I don't know if they're still selling it at all, but this is so like of an era. They're known for this really ornate like lace work on the top. They always have this kind of lots of slub knits. I've sold, again, quite a bit of it. It's one of those brands like Guinevere that has a bit of a cult following in Anthropologie, and people just love it. So something like this, I will probably get somewhere between 25 and 35 bucks. No doubt fairly quickly. It is a size extra small, and now that I'm thinking about it, I think every shirt that I've sold, every one of these shirts that I've sold is also extra small. For whatever reason, I have found a lot of Meadow Rue in extra small. Again, something that I'll pick up just because I know that this has performed for me very, very well. Great condition. It's white, it's in great condition. It's got that gorgeous like slub. Contents tag is cut out, but this feels like a linen blend slub, which is just a dream. So keep your eyes out for Meadow Rue. Let me know if you grab it when you see it. I feel like a lot of people will see that and say that that's like a very dated Anthropologie style, but like know that there is a cult following for stuff like this. Would I go and pay up for it? Would I be paying $7 for something like this? Probably not. But if you see it at the bins, give it a try. See if you have the same success that I do. But I think that they're so pretty. And I use ethereal and fairy core and all those kind of keywords because that's very much the person who's buying this, the person who's very into like the fantasy and the fairy core and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you use your keywords for it and should get it to the right eyeballs. Next up, I got this great vintage Tommy Hilfiger sweater. This is so like perfect for right now. This is the kind of stuff that's selling so well. It's just a 100% cotton long sleeve crew neck sweater with a little crest here. Easy way to tell if what you are holding is vintage Tommy Hilfiger versus modern Tommy Hilfiger is the label. See how you've got like the Tommy and the Hilfiger and you've got the big flag in the middle? This big flag tells you that it is vintage. This one's probably from the 90s. The newer label is kind of long and narrow like this, right? It'll say Tommy Hilfiger across and it'll have a little flag in the middle, but the big flag in the middle will tell you that it is vintage. This is in like flawless condition. Not a speck, not a stain, not a pick. Like I'm gonna guess that this has maybe been worn once or twice. I'll probably see like 40 to 50 bucks on this, and no doubt it'll go very, very quickly. It's a size large, again, flawless condition. It's in that cream. It's got American Heritage. It's got preppy, it's got Ivy League, it's got old money, it's got classic, it's got all of the different things that I can use for keywording, and in perfect condition. And it's vintage to boot. Like I would buy this if it was modern, but the fact that it is vintage will give it that little extra oomph. 4 more to go here, guys. Next up, we've got this little Torrid sheer nightgown. Now, I've really not been picking up much Torrid, with the exception of anything that's a little bit like gothy, like this. It's size 2, so it's a 2X. It's in perfect condition. It's got this pretty like keyhole front with a little lace detail there. It is obviously short, little lace trim, perfect condition. This is really the only kind of stuff that I see selling from Torrid these days for more than like 10 or 15 bucks. And I'll probably see like somewhere maybe like 25 bucks on this. And no doubt it'll go fairly quickly. Really, again, the only things I'm picking up for there are like retro inspired pieces and like gothy leaning pieces. It's so funny because just a couple years ago, Torrid was such a BOLO and it would sell so quickly, but I really think that the reason that that has fallen off is because more brands have offered more size inclusive size ranges, which is champagne problems. Absolutely, positively. We needed that. I will gladly give up a BOLO for people who are above a size 12 to have more options. You know what I'm saying? That's an easy trade-off for me. 2 to go, and one of them is this absolutely epic vintage ski suit. Again, the kind of thing that you just don't find that much anymore. Especially like you used to be able to find these, again, I lived in the mountains of Utah. I used to be able to find these at the thrift stores up in the mountains, but no longer. So this is from Head. This is the same company, like Head Sportswear, same company that makes like the tennis rackets. This is one piece. It is hot pink and blue. Like, look at that. Look at that geometric design on the back there. It's got the belt around the middle. It's got the full length, little snaps there at the end. You will never see snaps. You will never see snaps today because they'll scratch up your boots. boots. So something like this, it's a US size medium ladies, made in Hong Kong. I'm gonna guess that this is somewhere between 1985 and 1990. It's in great condition, and I'll probably see somewhere between like $50 and $100 on this. People buy these. Number one, they buy these for costumes, of course. You know, there's always, you know, especially in ski towns, you'll get like an Aspen Extreme party or something like a ski school party where people are kind of dressing like the old movies. But you're also going to see people wear these on opening day of a ski resort, closing day of a ski resort, gaper day at a ski resort. That's Gaper. If you don't know what a gaper is, it's somebody who has a big gap in between their goggles and their helmet, a la this picture here. It's just like a little inside joke that people use. And a lot of times these are big party days on the hill. So like opening day, closing day, gaper day, big party days. Also New Year's Day, you'll see people out in vintage ski suits. But it's a whole culture, right? It's a whole culture in a ski town, and people love to do it. And these pieces are getting harder and harder to find. The ideal situation is that you're wearing like your mom's or your dad's from the 80s, and they've kept it all these years. But a lot of people, you know, like me, I didn't ski growing up, so that wasn't something that was accessible to me because my mom did not have a ski suit laying around. So I had to find mine at the thrift store, and now you can't find them because people snap them up. So these things sell very well for me. I've sold quite a few of them. I'm always excited when I find them, especially when I find them in good shape and in a decent size and in like the really bold, very like of the era colors. So always a good find. Pick them up if you see them. Gladly pay up for them. Don't go paying like $25, $30 for them. Depending on the maker and depending on the condition, you might not get the profit out of it that you want, but if you can find it at the bins, you can find them for under 10 bucks or under 15 bucks, grab them. Yard sales, all that kind of stuff. Keep your eyes out. I will grab them anytime I see them. I'm always surprised when I find them here in Southern California. And finally, we've got a little bit of a story time here, and I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, and this is a Carhartt jacket. So they did a table turn, and everybody runs out to the bins. The first people to the bins are always the bins bros. They're all in competition for the same like vintage t-shirts, vintage sweatshirts, and streetwear, right? So they like blast through the tables. And I never get in their way. Like, I'm not looking for the same thing that they are, and they are all in competition for the same stuff. So like, it's imperative that they go through very, very quickly. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll just kind of like toss the bins and, you know, hopefully catch like a graphic or a hoodie or, you know, whatever. Like, they know what they're looking for. So the guys had kind of gotten to this table and went through, and I'm somebody who digs through like every little piece. I'm looking for the tiny little like treasures. And I get down to the bottom and I see this. I know what duck canvas looks like, right? So I pull it out and I'm like, oh, that's a Carhartt jacket, which, you know, I'm excited to get anyway. So pull it out, and it's this great Carhartt jacket. Pretty big size, but it's in great condition. Like, a lot of times you find stuff like this and it's been worn to death. So I grab it and I put it in my bag. About 30 minutes later, I'm over by my cart. I'm kind of going through things, and this kid comes up to me, one of the bins bros, and he's like, yo, he's like, can I see your Carhartt? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. And so I pull it out, and he's looking at it. He's like, oh, it's nice. He's like, you looking to sell it? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to sell it. And he's like, I'll give you $75 for it. I'm like now? And he's like, yeah, right now. I'll give you cash. And I'm like, He was young, bless his heart. He doesn't realize that he's dealing with somebody who's been hustling like literally her entire life. You know, like, I've been hustling since before they were born, and I don't know when I became the person that was able to say that, but I can say that I've 100% been hustling since before he was born. He was way too eager to buy this from me for 75 bucks. And then he ended up upping it to like 100 bucks. And I'm like, you know, like, thanks, I'm gonna do a little bit more research, because I know what some of these Carhartt jackets can go for. And I'm talking like they go into the 4 digits. For certain pieces, like not all, but like I know that they can get up there. And this kid was way too excited to give me $100, and he was laying it on like, oh, you know, I'll probably resell it for 125 bucks. And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. Nobody works on that profit margin, especially if you're here at the bins, you know. And he's like, oh, but you're gonna have to deal with like seller's fees. And I'm like, I'm good with seller's fees. Like, we're not gonna do this. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna research it. So he walks away. He's like, it's really nice. And another kid like 5 minutes later comes over and he's like, hey, can I see your Carhartt? And I'm like, you boys are out for my Carhartt today. And he's like, no, he's like, I just want to see it. He's like, I've never seen one in real life. And I'm like, okay. So now I know I've got something. So it's a Detroit jacket, which is probably one of the more desirable pieces. It's got the blanket lining, which is even more desirable. This is from 2001, so it's Y2K vintage. It's in perfect condition, and resale on these jackets go somewhere between like $250 and $500. This is an unusual size. It's a 2X tall, so that might bring a little bit more money just because it's like rarer on the market, but it's in like fantastic condition. What an exciting find. I just thought that that was so funny. That kid thought he was real smooth, but what a great find. Again, I'm gonna do a little bit more research, make sure I represent this exactly as it is. Again, I don't do a ton of Carhartt because I don't get my hands on a ton of Carhartt because there's a lot of guys there that are like in competition for stuff like that. So I'll do a little bit more research, make sure I represent it right, make sure I'm getting like the dates right and all that kind of stuff, but what a great find. But that is it, guys. That is the haul for today. Again, it was a great Good Friday. I was pleasantly surprised by how not crowded the bins were, but the finds were few and far between, but they were exceptional. Again, this jacket, the Celine heels, was crazy. But all in on the day, I spent $80, and I think I've got somewhere between like $1,300 and $1,600 worth of sales here. But it was all in all a fantastic day of sourcing, both in the bins and at the regular thrift store. But guys, I so appreciate you taking a little bit of your time to hang out with me. It is the holiday season. We are all up to our eyeballs busy, and I really appreciate you taking a little bit of that precious time to spend it with me. But guys, if you had fun, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. It helps me out so much with YouTube. But without further ado, guys, I hope you have the most beautiful week. Happy hunting, and I will see you all in the next one.